All right, this is part two of my phase three launch for the OS6 style library. I've added a ton of new functionality to make it easier for you to find styles. There's also a ton of new styles, new effects, new enhancements, um, and a lot of new features. So I'm putting together a couple of short clip videos just to give kind of the starting point. But I invite you to come play around in the library, test it out, even if you don't have your Profi Saber yet, just get familiar with the controls. So one of the big pieces that I'm working on right now for phase three and beyond is the addition of more and more interactive styles and effects. So with OS6, in addition to everything else that was added, the capabilities to create these interactive styles is actually a big one. It almost lets you create sort of mini video games where you have different controls, different capabilities, different effects, all controlled with how you're using the saber and what you're doing. And they all happen interactively. This is kind of I've updated the preview tool on the library for phase three to make it easier for you to actually play around and see how they work, as well as understand what's actually supposed to happen. So if we go in, I'm going to find one of my interactive styles. So we have like the fire and ice style. So if I choose this style, I'm going to go into the previewer. You'll see this new red bar. Any interactive effect that you choose or interactive style that you choose, this red bar will pop up and it's just going to let you know what the controls are for that. And it's just so that you can kind of understand how to use them. So if you want to test this one out, so right now the fire and ice, the interactive force effect, if you use the force effect, it's going to freeze the blade. And then you just need to do clashes to break the ice. So how it's going to work is let's do the force effect. And you'll see the blade is going to freeze. And now once the blade is frozen, in order to break this ice, it's going to remain until I do multiple clashes enough to build it up. Now, it actually also responds to clash strength, so you can also adjust. So we always have it set to medium by default. But if I do a lighter clash, it'll break off a smaller piece versus if I do a hard clash, it'll break off a larger piece. And you have to get down to about 25% of the blade, and then the rest of the ice will melt. So this way, you're able to actually test out what those interactive capabilities are supposed to be and play around with them. Another one that I've shown before, but that plays nicely in here would be, what do we got? Here's my Thundercats. There you are. So if I go into the Thundercats, so with the Thundercats one, the Sword of Omens with the Eye of Thundera, you press power, and then you have, during the interactive timer, which was on the previous screen, you have to swing 3 times to extend. And then actually the force swing would summon the Thundercats with the red beam up the blade. So let's give it a try. So you're going to test it out by clicking power. Now it's just got the Eye of Thundera. If I click swing once, twice, 3 times, I'm extended. And then the fourth one will actually go red. Again, once that timer runs out, then we'll get, it'll go back into being normal blade. And we set that timer for, I think, 22 seconds. So it might take a little while to get back. There we go. And you can adjust that. So if you want to adjust the timer, so certain interactive capabilities have a timed window where they run in. Other ones are just always running, but you can adjust. So just read up on the style, but that's all there. So you're able to test them out. Now, another thing that I've just added is this blank blade, which is all the way at the bottom here. The blank blade you can use, but it's meant to allow you to apply other effects to it that you can see or use. So there's actually a number. So we're gonna turn off prions. And what I want to do is there's a bunch of new interactive swing and force capabilities, and you can see them here. So we want to try the interactive power buildup. And this has a force toggle, or we could do force recharge. So we'll do force toggle. And it's going to tell me that the control for this one is the force will enable or disable. And then you just have to hold the blade still, so not swing it, to build up the power. And then when you swing it, it's going to throw. So let's turn it on. It is the blank blade, so it stays dark. So that's expected. We're in blank blade. But if I use the force to toggle it, you'll see the buildup will start. And that buildup is over time. So the longer you hold it without swinging, you're going to build up more and more power, and you'll see it'll pick up. And then when I want to release the energy, I just press and hold the swing button. And then once I let it go, it'll go back. And force toggle means that it'll keep rerunning this effect until I do the force again. And again, it'll just keep building back up. And then when I want to stop the effect, I do the force again, and it'll deactivate the effect. Another one would be like the fireball. I can actually do the fireball with a force recharge. So the fireball builds up at your hilt, and you'll see, and the force recharges it. So every time you swing, you're going to throw the fireball, but you have to recharge this one after use. There's other versions. Force recharge means it's going to do the effect one time. If you want to reactivate the effect, you're going to do the force or whatever other effect. So all the interactive capabilities, there's a number of controls, a number of mechanisms. That's what this bar is for. But so we'll do swing, and you'll see that fireball fire up. And now I don't have the fireball again until I do the force. Force effect brings it back, and then swing gets rid of it. And that's all. There's a bunch in there already. I have a ton more that I'm working on. There's a lot of interactive styles themselves, as well as all these interactive capabilities being added. So the idea behind the new previewer is to let you easily test them out and understand how they're supposed to work, and then go forward and play around with them. So I'm going to do a few other videos on some of the other new capabilities, but I wanted to introduce this to everybody, and definitely go out and play around with the styles, play around with the previewer, and hope you enjoy.